and welcome to the Nature Codes podcast. I'm Amira Daly, an energy healer and mentor. I deliver inspirational tips and shares on how to welcome nature into your life to inspire transformation. I will share with you guidance, tips, and interviews to nurture that special bond between you, the universe, and nature. Hi again, everyone. Lovely to be with you on another really sunny day in the UK. Just love this weather. I wanted to come on here and talk about how I believe we're all going through a transition period into a new beginning. The main thing that the collective needs to know is how to move on to this new path, this new beginning, this path of manifestations coming through, your seeds growing into blossoming flowers, and your life changing for the better. I believe that we all need to release our blocks, our fears, the things that are holding us back before we can step onto this path. I think this is an ongoing process. I don't think we'll ever completely address all of our blocks. There's so many different ways you can do it, so many parts of yourself that need shadow work, essentially. So shadow work is releasing those dark fears, those blocks that are holding us back so that it can be filled with light and positivity. Basically, the more positive you are, the less blocks and fears you have. So you'll find on your journey of releasing these, you become naturally more positive, more vibrant, more attractive, more able to manifest your desires. But this just doesn't come from just manifesting. You need to do the work. You need to unblock yourself before your manifestations can start coming true. There will be some manifestations that you will be able to do, but those will be in line with your current life. They won't be manifestations that aren't in line with your current life. So in order to bring those big manifestations that you really want into fruition, the hard work needs to be done. And there are many ways of doing this. So how do we know what blocks need to be released? Your body and the universe has a really, really good way of bringing those fears and issues up so that you can fully see them. And so what this looks like is overthinking on certain things, actually seeing the physical reality of those blocks in your life. So are you attracting narcissistic partners? Are you not feeling loved in relationships? Are you repetitively doing the same bad behaviours or feeling like others are repetitively showing you their bad behaviour? Are there patterns in your life where you feel like, oh, not again, this is happening once more, and it just keeps happening to me. Why does this keep happening to me? Why do I have these repetitive negative thoughts in my head? It's those kind of things. So this is where journaling is a really helpful tool, because as soon as you have that thought or you feel like the same scenario is happening again, you just need to write it down. And then you need to go into yourself and just think, why am I attracting this into my life? Why am I having these thoughts? Where did this feeling originally come from? What fear do I have that is manifesting this into my life? And if you write just about this and keep writing, you'll eventually find the source. And it might take a bit of journaling to get there. But once you have that aha moment of thinking, oh wow, yes, that is where I think this is showing me, because the universe shows you where your blocks are, not to annoy you, not to be like, ha ha, here again, you are attracting negative scenarios. It's not that way. It's, oh no, you haven't learnt from the previous experience. Here's another experience, and hopefully you'll finally learn your lesson and understand what needs to be changed in yourself and what needs to be acknowledged within yourself for you then to move on. So now I might think it might be helpful for me to give you some examples of this and how the universe and your body are working together to show you what is lacking and what needs to be released. So we all know those people that seem to attract negative, very negative people, violence, or, just negative, very negative scenarios into their life on repeat. And what I've come to realize is that this often stems from a feeling of feeling like a bad person themselves. And so the universe is reflecting that back at them by bringing in these people into their lives, or these situations into their lives. And often the universe can be quite to the point. Sometimes take it to the extreme, and normally that's because something's been ignored for a while and it's like a proper wake up call into that awakening. But usually these people feel like they're bad in some way, and so through that they're manifesting these bad situations or these bad scenarios into their lives. And until they realize that they're not bad, they've just got blocks on self-worth, and they have a lack of love for themselves, and they're beating themselves up for saying or doing bad things in their lives. It doesn't mean that their core is bad. It just means that they've got traumas that they need to address. And so once people like that realize this and show themselves some self-love and some compassion for what they've been through in life and what they've come out of, then they will suddenly release this, and they won't be finding this scenario presenting itself again. Or we have it to a lesser extreme where people believe that other people are tricksters, they don't have trust, or, sorry, can you hear the cows? They've just literally run into this field, so they're vocalizing pretty loudly. So that's what you hear in the background, if you can hear it. So they're thinking that people are trying to trick them. They're thinking that, the world's out to get them. And usually that's because they don't trust themselves. They have a lack of trust of other people. But also, if you keep thinking that, you're going to attract these scenarios. So you're going to keep getting people coming into your lives that are like that. And maybe it's also a showing up as they don't feel respected, or they don't respect themselves enough. There's so many things that it could be. And by journaling and trying to get to the root of this and going through your fears and what really that core belief is that you need to kind of weed out of your system, then you can move on and you won't be attracting these kind of people into your life. Someone was saying to me that a few years ago they were attracting partners that had alcohol and drug issues on repeat. So they'd come from one relationship into another, and she was like, why am I attracting these kinds of people? Why not again, yet again? I've put myself in this situation where I'm attracting these kind of people, and I have to deal with their issues, and my issues are on the back burner, and I need to concentrate all of my time and energy into these people's addictions and trauma. And after a few relationships of this, she suddenly realized that actually it was her lack of self-worth and her lack of boundaries and her lack of love for herself that was attracting these relationships into her life. And the universe was like, oh, I'm going to show you another person and another person and another person until you start to recognize that actually this is something that you need to address from within yourself. And so she had the foresight, amazingly, to realize this and started a practice of loving herself by looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, you're amazing, and just like really looking after herself, prioritizing herself, and just really sitting with those emotions of like trying to get through that self-worth, lack of love issue that she had. And eventually, after time, she did start to love herself, and she would say to herself, I love you, and actually mean it. And I respect you, and you deserve boundaries in your life, you deserve love. And now she does not have those partners in her life anymore, and she has trust that she will not attract those kinds of people again. And sometimes animals come into your life at the right time to help you release these issues or these fears, and they will mirror behaviors to you. So I don't know, say a dog is showing issues that around, say a dog is showing anxiety issues, they might be mirroring your anxiety and your lack of self-esteem, and maybe that's what they've come to help you see. Maybe they're showing you signs of where you have issues that you need to release. And so this is what I'm finding through my work, is that sometimes it is not just the animal that needs the help, it is the partnership of the person and the animal. For instance, I had a horse that I worked on who was lame, and the owner had been to the vet so many times and just was knocking on doors trying to work out why her horse was lame. In the end, she put it down to old age and just not wanting to be ridden anymore. And at the same time, she asked me then to come in and help her. And I worked on both her and her horse, and both were releasing very similar issues and toxins and lots of different blocks that they had. Firstly, the horse started to show all of a sudden behaviour of excitement and wanting to be ridden, and went, for the first time in a few years, went past just walking and not wanting to be ridden into galloping and enjoying herself. It was beautiful because at the same time the client, she was feeling excited again and happier, and then they both were feeding off each other's energy. So now they're like exploring and like bonding their relationship, and they've both got this sense of joy with each other, and they enjoy being in each other's company, and they've worked through their blocks together, which I think is absolutely stunning. The client is now doing yoga and doing so many good things to look after herself. The partnership of the two of them together, exploring things that they both enjoy, is really, really beautiful. And so then we can also see this mirrored in nature and how nature gives us signs for certain things. Like, for instance, I've been getting a lot of messages about new beginnings and taking flight again after times of being caged up. And I'm seeing this in birds are coming to me and other people's messages, and just like getting this sense. And I just wanted to explain how that comes about. The other day I had a jay fly into my conservatory, and this jay was flapping around really anxious and scared and just really, really trying to get out and was really frantic. And so I cornered this jay and held the jay in my hands, and obviously this was alarming for the jay, and I just slowly walked her out into our garden and then opened my hands, and she was suddenly, like, you could see this, like, what's just happened? I'm now outside. And then after a few seconds she took flight. And at the same time, one of my course mates also saw a jay and took a photo of it because it sat on her house just outside her window. I messaged her to say what had happened with this jay, and then she messaged me back a picture of a jay that had sat outside her window, and we were like absolutely blown away. We were just thinking, what does this mean? And at the same time as this conversation, my sister sent me something, the front cover of a book that she was going to be, she's a lecturer, so she showed me a front cover of a book she was going to be lecturing about, and it just so happened that the art of the front of the book was caged birds being let out, and they were flying out of this cage. It was like they were suddenly having a sense of freedom again. And so I'm seeing this in the new beginnings that we're all shifting into, and the joy that we will experience, the freedom that we're so desperately seeking is not that far away. And so if we can release our blocks and really work on ourselves, this freedom is actually really, really easy to find. So I'm just going to give you some questions that sometimes if I'm feeling something stuck and, I'm overthinking something, I will question it, saying, what does this challenge mean for you? What messages do you think the universe is trying to send you? In those uncomfortable feelings, I welcome them in, and I sit with them, and I write them down, and I speak them, and I understand what these feelings are. Where did they first originate? Journal it all, really get to the depths of it. And once we work out the true source of these feelings, you'll find that they will dissipate and those uncomfortable feelings will go. You'll feel more in control and more powerful, and that you will feel that you've released something, and you'll see positive signs in your physical world, but also the relief of those heavy symptoms. So situations, people and animals come to us so that we can work through our traumas for release. Releasing these traumas then directly powers our manifestations so that we can lead a more free life. So I really encourage you that next time you feel bad, quote unquote, feelings or bad, quote unquote, situations, sit in it, welcome it in, find the truth in what these feelings are helping you to release. So that's kind of the message that I wanted to deliver today, and I'm so grateful for you listening, sending so much love and light. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please subscribe to the Nature Codes podcast so you never miss an episode. If you enjoy what I'm sharing, please rate and leave a review so that other nature lovers can find me too. And lastly, follow me on Instagram @The Nature Codes for more inspiring free content, as well as access to all of my programs.